Calvin.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Dak Prescott, has any decisions been made about him playing on Sunday?
Yeah, plan on finishing strong and having Dak play, and again get a chance to go 5-1, hopefully in the division, finish 8-1, and that's the plan as we're looking at now.
Will there be any opportunity for Joe Milton to play as well?
Again, we'll look at that. Again, the biggest thing for me is put the game plan together and hopefully have another great week of practice and focus on getting our prep. You know how much respect I have for this team and this defense that we're getting ready to play. Elite front seven, and but yeah, we'll see how the week goes. But right now the plan is to play Dak.
Easy decision or hard decision? I mean, I know the game means something, but doesn't mean something, and obviously you want to see some young guys at times, but I don't know if it's just.
Well, I think they all mean something. I mean, that's where I would say I think they all do mean something. We're being evaluated on the whole season here, and we're proud of the fact we've played well against the NFC East opponents, and got a chance to play another one this weekend. But I feel good about it.
I tell Dale, Cowboys, the momentum into the offseason, I don't know if the Bears or the Patriots had a lot of momentum at the end of the season, and they've turned around and had a great season. I mean, does it mean as much? I mean, it's a great taste in your mouth to end the season with that wins, but does it mean as much as in March and May and August to have those wins? I mean, because there's certainly evidence of teams who didn't end well who turn around and have a great season next year.
Yeah, I think each situation is different. Clarence, I think those are teams that are both obviously playing with great passion and playing well right now, and we hope that that's us next year. But I'm a guy that's all about process. I'm going to be the same guy every day, every week, and this week is no different. These guys put a lot of time and effort into preparing for 17 games. That's how many we signed up for, and we're going to compete to win all 17 of them, and hopefully we can get number 8 this weekend.
When do you evaluate the coaching staff going forward for next year? I know Jerry was on the radio, Steve was on the radio today talking about confusion as far as what do you play Logan, or why he didn't play and stuff like that. And certainly Jerry last Friday was he kind of heightened the rhetoric on, the disappointment in how the defense is played. When do you start evaluating which coaches we're bringing back? Well,
let me first speak to the thing with Logan. The plan was to play Logan. We only had 21 snaps in the first half, and we kind of messed up the rotation in the second half. And it's not the first time it's happened. It's probably not the last time. It happens with receivers. It happens with defensive linemen. It certainly, shouldn't happen. But we take that as a coaching staff. And then again, everything's going to be evaluated. Once we get through this last game, everything's going to be evaluated. Everything's going to be looked at, and there's going to be a lot of AARs done. Those after-action reports where you write down the things you did well, the things you need to improve, some of the critical mistakes that we made along the way, and then how do we improve those things. So everything's going to be looked at, and that's what I love about the process.
Brian Schottenheimer with ESPN. How much when you get to these situations that you almost have to protect, because the players always going to want to play that, protect them against themselves a little bit, like a guy like Javonte with the shoulder. And are there guys that you've already said in your mind, like, okay, this guy won't go?
No, I think if they're healthy, we plan on playing them. I mean, if you're going to play Dak Prescott, if the guys are healthy, they can go. We want to play them. But again, I know we're a little bit beat up right now. The couple of days off definitely helped. Playing on Sunday, Todd, definitely helps. Gives us the extra day. But the training room's pretty full right now, and I think that speaks to how physical we played in the game against Washington, and that's something that we take a lot of pride in.
And then you talked about it. Back in Oxnard, you have 17 championship opportunities. How much does it suck that you don't have an 18th in front of you?
Oh, it sucks a lot. It sucks really bad. I mean, watching the games yesterday and then watching them put up the playoff, the options of the teams that have qualified for the playoffs, and you know me and what the ultimate goal is, to win a world championship, and you have to qualify for the tournament. But all that being said, we put ourselves in this predicament. We did not play consistent football enough along the way, and that's why we sit here with one more championship opportunity.
John Michaud with The Athletic. Do you have any update on Jake Ferguson?
No. Again, did well over the weekend. We'll see how he does on Wednesday. It's still early in the week, but like I said, we're pretty beat up, and we'll see how these guys respond. But the the camaraderie and stuff in the training room today was really good. The guys had good juice, and everyone that's dinged up a little bit, they're all working their butts off to get back.
If he can't go or he's limited, whatever it is, how much are you looking forward to maybe more word from Brevin Spanford?
Yeah, I mean, Brev's a guy, you guys have asked me about him quite a bit. You know, John, I think this guy's play style and the fact he's making plays, and, you know, he stepped up big time in the game against Washington with the big vertical and stuff like that. But, you know the mentality, next man up. And really, I don't think that way when I talk about the tight ends, because really all three of those guys, Brev, Scooney, and Jake, are all big parts of what we're trying to do offensively.
Is there anything that Jaydon Blue can do this week to be active on Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how the week goes. Again, I'd love to get eyes on Jaydon. And again, I think the last couple weeks has been good weeks for him, and he's practicing harder and better. And again, I think if he continues on that path, there's definitely a chance.
Nick Harris, four-star Telegram, along with that same point. What's the health situation looking like for Javonte and Malik Davis?
Yeah, both guys banged up pretty good. Javonte's shoulder's been problematic for the last couple weeks, and you guys saw Malik Shiner, but he's dealing with a couple other things as well. I mean, anytime you go out and you rush for 100 yards in this league in a physical game like he did, pretty sore. But again, I'll have more information the next time we talk. But the training room was pretty full down there today.
Stephen was talking about on the radio this morning about Jaydon Clowney and just how it's worked here, why it's worked here. In your eyes, and you've now been with him at a couple different spots, why has it worked for Jaydon this year, and can you speak to wanting him back in the future as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like when I talk about, JD, it's the impact on the field is great. You guys see the way he plays. I mean, there's a reason the guy was the first overall draft pick 30 years ago or whatever it was, maybe 25 years ago. But what I love is the impact he's having with the younger players, the impact he's having in the locker room, the intensity about the way the game should be played. I think all those things are just critical for our young players to listen and hear. And whether it's Tyler Booker on offense, hearing JD talk about it, or Donovan Ezraku talk about it, to me it's priceless. And you can't watch him play the game and be like, oh, yeah, these are meaningless games to this guy. And they're not meaningless at all to this guy. This guy wants to win at anything that he does, and that play style and that temperament, quite honestly, is something that I'd love to have back next year.
Tommy, our DallasCowboys.com, you brought it up a couple times in the last few weeks, these younger guys needing to earn their chances to play in these last couple of games. What does that look like for you? What do you look for in practice or in meetings that makes you say, okay, yeah, this guy's earned his chance?
Yeah, it starts in meetings, Tommy. It really does. It starts in meetings with the way they take notes, the questions that they ask, walkthroughs. Are they paying attention if they're not getting all the reps? At practice, what are they doing in individual? Are they what are their times? Their catapult, everything's timed. We monitor their speeds and stuff. What speeds are they hitting? And then there's the consistency of that. To do that one day and to hit your speeds of 20 miles an hour, whatever it is, and then to come back the next day and be 15 or 16. I'm not talking about any player specifically. I'm talking about in general. That's problematic, and that's not meeting the standard. And if you do it on a consistent basis and you show us you're prepared, you show us you're practicing the right way, and that we have great faith in the fact that you give us the best chance to win, then by all means we're going to play you. And if you don't, then there's a chance you're probably not going to play.
You guys have had Cooper Rush the last couple of years back in Dak. Now you kind of knew what you had with him, and now you have Joe. What have you learned from Joe over the course of the year in terms of what he can do based on what you saw in preseason and now in the reps that he gets in practice?
Yeah, everybody gets mesmerized by Joe's arm, and I get it. I mean, I'm mesmerized. I've seen a lot of guys throw footballs over my time in the NFL. How much he loves playing the game. He's a lot like GP in the way that they both love playing the game. No one has more fun at practice than Joe. I think Joe's been a great asset for Dak in regards to that, because Dak's such a perfectionist and terrible dancer. Dak's terrible dancer, and Joe's a really good dancer. And so Dak tries to compete every day with Joe, and it's not even close. But the athleticism's real. Great athlete. I think, the biggest thing for him has been learning kind of our protection schemes and things like that, which, Dak and Will Greer are certainly way farther advanced than Joe is. But I just see huge upside with the guy. I really do. I love the way he prepares. I love the way he competes. But the first thing when you asked me about him was just how much he loves playing the game.
Scott
Vincent, you used that, like the phrase championship opportunity, you used it today. How do you define that? How do you message that to players when the playoffs are no longer within reach?
Yeah, I think we're being evaluated about winning. You know, everything we talk about is about winning. You want to win one game in a row. And then if you win one, you want to win 2 games in a row. And, you know, no one's going to look at this game and say, oh, hey, they played their starters, they didn't play their starters. Hey, no, we're going to have a record when the season's over, and when the clock hits 0 Sunday afternoon, we're going to have a record for the 2025 season. And, you know, it's important for us to, you know, build this culture about winning. And so to me, a championship opportunity is you take whatever that game is, you give it everything you got throughout the course of the week, from Monday leading up through Friday, Saturday, into Sunday. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a win or a loss. And the wins and losses can be terminal, you know, when you're not in the playoffs, but you're still going to be evaluated on those. And so I think it will help us when we do next year get into the playoffs, the postseason and beyond, because what you want is you want the bigger the game becomes, that it's no different. And I believe in that. You know, when you're playing in a Super Bowl, you want it to feel no different than Week 6 or Week 7 or Week 8 because it's just another championship opportunity.
And Nick mentioned Clowney earlier and the question of next year. What about Malik? What have you liked about him, and is there anything else you need to see for how you'll feel about him going into the offseason and what y'all want to do with him?
Malik Davis? Yeah, no, again, Malik's a guy I can't sing his praises enough. From the time he's come back, I've talked about that, but just watching the game again over the weekend, I mean, the hidden yards that he got, Skyler, I mean, like yards after contact, was incredible. I mean, for not the biggest back in the world, but his heart is incredible. It's huge, and to play through some of the things he played through and just what he does for us on special teams, that's how he found his role. And again, I think back to Tommy's point, like special teams, if you're not a starter, if you're not like the guy, special teams is important, and Malik owned that. When we lost Wanye, Malik was right there ready to step up as the PP, and that, as you guys all know, is an invaluable position. Like, if you don't have a PP on the punt team, then you're going to the game really concerned. And I think the maturity of Malik said, hey, I have a chance to earn a position as that. Let me do that. And then he got in the game, and, oh, shoot, he pops a big run against Kansas City. And then next thing you know, we trust him more. And now he's playing some on 3rd down. And then Javonte goes out and he rushes for 100 yards. So I think it's just the maturity of him and finding those opportunities. And the old saying, when given an opportunity, you better be ready to maximize that opportunity. And he's done that.
Babe.
Babe Laufenberg, 105.3 The Fan. How have you liked the look of Bass and Tyler Smith there at the left side?
Yeah. Again, I didn't think we did a good enough job protecting Dak last game. It wasn't just those 2 guys. I thought we ran the ball really, really well. I thought the communication between those 2 guys was really, really good. But I do think that, you know, our fundamentals got a little sloppy, Babe, in a couple areas. And but both those guys, I mean, again, I'll talk about Tyler for a second. I mean, just to nonchalantly move out to left tackle in this league, to me, is just crazy. But he does it, and he does it with a smile, and he just goes out there and competes. And then TJ Bass, he's played so much meaningful football for us, you know, really over the last couple years. Again, I think he's a very, very talented young player that's certainly, you know, his star is on the rise. I really like what TJ does for us.
I know coaches don't have rearview mirrors for the most part, but do you wish maybe that you would gone to that a little earlier?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, you know, we all know what Tyler is as a guard, you know, and then when you got, you know, the depth that we had, but, you know, when you have to adjust with losing a guy like Tyler Guyton for the amount of time that we have, and, you know, Nate going in there, and he's played good snaps. But, again, because we want to win these final games, we thought the decision made the most sense, and I stick by that.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You talked about the Logan situation on Thursday. What is your guys' process for determining rotations and then handling rotations in game?
Yeah, so basically it depends on the position, but our thought is, again, we want each guy to try to get at least 20 plays. If you're up on game day, we want you to try to get at least 20 plays, and that would be through one of the 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. And we try to do that. And then the process, sometimes it's a little bit harder when you're talking about the green dot, you know, because you got the guy that's calling the defense. So like with Logan and K9, you can't just put a guy in like a receiver. It's an earned first down. I can throw a receiver in there and be, hey, go steal a rep. With the green dot and the helmet, you can't do that. So it makes it a little bit harder, but we do keep track of it. And occasionally you look at the numbers and they don't make sense. And this one certainly didn't make sense. And, you know, we have to be better as a coaching staff with that.
And when it plays out like that for a guy like Logan, how do you communicate post game about that and what happened with
Yeah,
him?
he was in here early today, and Gonzo talked to him and explained to him, hey, that was not what we meant. And he's like, Coach, I get it. It happens. And, Logan's a pro, and we knew what we were getting with him when we traded for him. So, again, we make mistakes. Players make mistakes. You communicate, and that's where the accountability just gets stronger.
Mike.
Mike Leslie, WFA. With a game left to evaluate, what do you make of Tyler Booker's rookie year and the progress he's shown through the season?
Well, I laugh because the first picture I have of him is from the other game, throwing the guy down late, Mike. But, I think he's just grown so much, to get thrown into this position in this division against these elite players, going up against another one this week in Dexter. But very good. So much room for improvement, which is scary, just because the fundamentals and things that we're teaching are a little bit different than what he did. But the mindset, the makeup is elite, the competitiveness is elite, and I think the guy's just got an incredible future.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, a lot of people were excited about both Jaydon Blue and Phil Moff after the draft. Can you kind of talk about kind of both of their seasons and kind of what you're looking to see from them going forward?
Yeah, again, I'll speak to Jaydon because you guys ask me about him all the time. I mean, here's a guy that, again, the electric ability that he has on the football field to finish and make big plays, and he's not lost that. I mean, he's still a dynamic runner. He's learning the National Football League, and he's learning what it takes to be great, and to not just be great and to have a good game or a good carry, but to sustain success. That's what we're trying to get these guys to understand. The way you sustain success is to be consistent and to do the standard all the time. And so I think he's learning that. He's learning the importance of practice. It's not like when you're in college where, okay, the scout team goes over here and you do that against the walk-ons, and then you guys go over here and do the same thing. Like, you're practicing against the good guys as well, and we have a lot of good-on-good periods, and I've seen growth with Jaydon. Phil's a little different. Phil, I thought, had a tremendous preseason. I thought he ran really hard. You saw the run talent. I love the size and the makeup, the big body. And I think he's done a really good job of being disciplined with his preparation throughout what's a tough situation, right? It's like, man, when am I going to be activated? When are they going to bring me up? That's not easy for these guys, because, again, they put so much time and effort into it. So both those guys have a lot of things that we're really excited about. They're very different, which I think is cool, because one's kind of a slasher and one's the bigger back that, can kind of, move piles and things like that. But I think both those guys have bright futures.
Calvin.
How do you think the team, and I think you're biased a little bit, but how do you think the team has responded to the culture you're building here? Because some guys could say, hey, I don't like all the music at practice, or, but how do you think guys have responded?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you'd have to ask them. Honestly, I think, I'm always going to be who I am. I think they know that about me. I think that to a man, most of them would say they know that we do care about them, that we do want what's best for them, not just when they can help us winning football games, but, when they have, bursts in the family or they lose a loved one, we're going to be there for them. We're dealing with something right now. One of our players isn't here, and, I've been reaching out to him, just supporting him and stuff like that. And but to me, I think, the culture is made up of the people, and I think we have the right people. And when you have the right people and you have someone like myself that can kind of direct the vision of what you want, I think the buy-in's pretty good, but you'd have to ask them.
You had to discipline players for any number of reasons. Have you been concerned with the after effects of that? Like, oh, I'm not talking to Shot anymore, or has that happened? I don't know. Like, you've had to discipline your star players,
Yeah.
and maybe other guys that we don't know about. But how's the after effects?
I don't change who I am. I mean, it's like when I discipline my kids, they don't want to talk to me for a while, but then after a while, I'm like, come on now, hey, dad's being dad, and I mean, I'm very approachable, and I don't shy away from them. Like, you guys saw my reaction in Vegas. I mean, I love these guys. I really do. I love these guys, and just because they do something that I believe is wrong and that doesn't fit with what we're trying to build, I'm gonna hold them accountable. And but once it happens, I move right on, and it doesn't mean I don't love them. I still love them, and I think that's important.
Seems that the coaches you worked for have done it differently, maybe. Like Rex and maybe Pete might be a little different. And maybe even your dad maybe
Totally.
this is the way you did it. So is that the way you're doing it? Is that a combination of everybody? In terms of I got to sit you down or fine you or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's different, but I think it's just at the end of the day, it's what I believe in. I believe I have to, treat these guys, a certain way and make sure that the standards being, held to a certain degree of what we expect. And if I can't do that with the so-called stars, then why would the rookie undrafted free agent want me to, be hard on him or hold him accountable? And I think you got to treat these guys all the same way in that regard, and that's what I try to do. And again, if you don't have relationships with them, then I think they think you're coming down on them and you're being difficult. And again, do they get their feelings hurt? Of course they do. That's part of human nature. But again, I think most of these guys know that I do care about them. I do love them. I want what's best for them. And part of this is me trying to help them have incredibly long careers because they do things the right way.
Hey, I guess I already gave my name and my. Going back to the Washington game, CD had the post a little underthrown. Turp had 2 plays before he caught the 86-yarder. He got him in the post on it, and the protection broke down. I don't know if he was in that read. I'm assuming he was.
Yeah.
But did you want to get right back to it? And any hesitation that Turp just went on a 60-yard sprint, or is he one of the guys that can run all day?
No, he can run all day. But yeah, he was definitely in the progression. We definitely left some yards out there, and that's crazy to say after a 480-yard performance. But we definitely left some yards out there, and but that's what happens when you have good players with guys that can run like Turp.
You just want to get right back to it again on the touchdown after.
Yeah, pretty quick to it. Yeah. Turp's biggest problem is after he gets blasted on kickoff returns. He usually asks for a little bit of a blow there because he usually comes off and his face mask is sitting over there to the side.
All righty.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.